Sorry, turn that off, and woo! Greetings, guys, gals, and non-binary pals, and welcome back to the shenanigans around these parts. This is muted, right? It's because I have the stream up, and yeah, it's still muted. Okay, very good. Otherwise, there would be reverb, and nobody wants that. Alright, yes, the blanket fort is in effect. Very good. Oh, I had a brainwave last night, this morning, and it wouldn't let me sleep until I had made it. So, I now have another pattern, and it's a little carrot friend with some cool hair and stuff. So yeah, there's that. Rules for rules for yeah. Also, rainbow snack. Funky shirt and carrot friend. Actually, I know it looks like a funky shirt. It's not quite. It's not quite that. On theme. Because it's Queen. But I totally see the mushroom cap that you're seeing here. But yeah, where did I actually send it? One sec. Rainbow snake turned out lovely. Just want longer, more snake. Yeah. That one ended up being one segment shorter than the natural color king snake. And I was debating whether or not to do more of the colors, but the black that I was using for that specifically was it was a different thickness than the rest of the yarn, and it ended up being that there we go. The end right here is exactly the end of that skein. So for another one, it would be like the same blanket yarn that's used in the rest of it, but I didn't want to have a different thickness in the black and have it look funky. So this little guy is a tester and slightly smaller. Works okay as a no he doesn't. He doesn't work as a hat. It's very cute though. I did, however, test out doing little eyelids on this little buddy, and it works. Quite happy with that. Anyway, yeah. Shows how expectations color expectations. Means also an excellent choice. Yeah, they really are. They really are. Like, I do find it kind of hilarious that my initial exposure to Queen was Highlander. Just needs a few hat pins. Yeah, there's a process that we can work with. Okay, is the lamp gonna let me turn it on and actually stay on? Maybe. That's a little bit better. Okay. It's a little better. Alright. Yeah. So how's everybody doing? Always coming in from the phantom. Exactly. Alright, yeah, lamp does not want to stay on today. Oh, there's enough light from the lamp over there though. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Like it yeah. Yeah. Basically. Like I ended up getting this at a it was a stage production, but I can't remember what can I look it up? 1 second. Well, being nerdy over here. Looking forward to another section of oh my god, these people are terrible. Yeah. It's like ugh. Okay. Yes. The We Will Rock You musical. There we go. It was interesting, I'll say that much. Like, it was the We Will Rock You musical. Monty Python and the Holy Grail, the musical, that was kind of a mashup of Monty Python, the Holy Grail, and like Life of Brian, I think, and random other references. And yeah, 2008 was an interesting year. Anyway, brought blanket for it, brought in giggles. Now for the salty snacks. Okay, all right. So just so I know what the baseline is that we're working with here. how, like, did you guys end up getting any of the any words? One sec. Yeah. Find the English wherever it went. Alright, there we go. Did not know there was a Monty Python musical. I can't remember what the actual title was, but it was something. Somewhere around here I have like one of those stress balls, but it's in the shape of a cow. Because there's a scene where they're lobbing cows at the French. So, yeah. It. Uh huh. Yeah, fun times. Okay. So, just so I know for like staging and whatnot, did you do any reading stuff? Okay, miscounted and didn't think no time for logic was today. Okay, yeah, no worries. No worries. I was, I was trying to. That's yeah. No, we're not in Audible today. We're in a Kindle. Okay, there we go. Ah, all right. Um, yeah. I ended up just getting through those two. Yeah. So, uh, did you want to do a revisiting of one of the previous chapters, or just dive into urban cleaning? What was the previous? Ah, yeah. That's what the end was. Okay. Ask again, please. Okay, no worries. Did you want to revisit the previous chapter, or just dive into um urban cleaning? Uh, it. I just paged back a few, and the previous one is um like Adrian reserving a room for Bishop, and um, being generally weird. Okay, Adrian is just as creepy as you say. We can go forth from there. Gotcha. Alright. Seriously. Don't mind spoilers about the next chapter either. Okay. Fabulous. One second. Ow. Okay, there we go. Alright. We've got urban cleaning. Looks like just there we go. Okay. So at this point in the timeline, we've got Lota who's spiraling because she's trying to control everything and nobody wants to listen to her. And Bishop who's kind of spiraling because she's got her own stuff going on. And Bishop is in Washington and Lota is in Brazil. So, she'd gotten the governor, or Lota had gotten the governor to visit the Otero in an attempt to, like, show how awesome it is, and it either did nothing or made stuff worse. And, like, it seems like the city took it upon itself to, like, throw trash in the thing. Okay, I know that chapter title has to be sarcasm with the literal trashing of Flamengo Park, the Otero. Yeah. It's that, and she was having issues with the, what was it? The urban cleaning people? Yeah. The urban cleaning department started to systematically spread debris on the area already cleared. Which, like, seems a bit counterproductive, just as a thing. But, like, as a thing, right? You're dumping debris. Even if you're, like, there's a designated debris area that you're dumping debris into. There was a mudslide, and they're dumping debris from the mudslide somewhere so that it can just sit. They happened to pick the Otero, which, bad form, but they needed somewhere to put this stuff. I realize that different areas have different practices as far as, like, search and rescue, and different eras have different practices and stuff. And if you're in a poorer area, it tends to perhaps not be the top priority because reasons. But the idea that the city was clearing a mudslide area, dump the debris in the Otero, and as it was settling, like, the remains of someone who'd died in the mudslide pop through the debris. Like, You didn't want to check for that before you dumped it somewhere? Just as a thing? And I realized that anytime I've worked on like an excavation site, it's either been in the States or in Britain, where remains are treated in a very regimented manner. And like in Britain, that's been in place since the Victorian period. Here, it's been in place since I don't know. One second while I look that up. It never loads. Okay. Well. It's not the fun thing to do the thing, but yeah. I was trying to find the year and the acronym because I'm blanking on it at the moment, but uh, in order to make sure that indigenous peoples are being respected, if remains are found on an archaeological site, it has to, like, the whole site gets shut down, and forensics comes in to identify if it's a contemporary um, deposit, I suppose. If it's contemporary remains or if it's historical. And if it's historical, if it's connected to like particular marginalized communities, so that they can either be returned to the community or just reinterred. Also, on the topic of poverty, the kerfuffle over the homeless using the park had us shaking our heads and asking what these people think homeless are supposed to do, just disappear. Right? Like, I'd forgotten about that. Like, because I've been reading this for, like, the last couple days, and that one was one of the earlier days. You've got... How many acres was it, anyway? I can never remember. I can never remember how big this thing was. Ah. So I'm gonna go park. Yeah. 296 acres. You know? Two, 296 acres. Most of which is just open. You know? And. Ah! There's a picture! Which I'm gonna see if I can actually get it to show. But like, you've got the 47 tall, like 47-foot tall, um, lights that just mimic moonlight because they have basically no range and a random road going through the middle of it. And yeah, fun things. Disposing of bodies in active archaeology site. Bad idea. Noted. Yeah, no, like, I don't want to give people ideas, but if that's a thing, like, at least wait until after the site's concluded. Because then it'll just be like 47. Oh, right. 47-meter tall. Yeah, okay. Yeah. Yeah. I don't know. Yeah. But yeah, no, if there's like with as much detail as people have to pay attention to in active archaeosites, everything's categorized. So like if just as a thing, complete aside, but as a thing, if you like pack up for the day and go home and then come back the next day and like any part of it was disturbed or like you go to excavate an area and like the soil is weirdly loose because it was dug out in the recent past. That's a real big clue right there. And forensics will be called if there's anything. Alright. TBH from that picture doesn't look like the park took that much designing. Right? Right? Like, it. Honestly, I know it was a whole, like, 5-year expedition thing, but, like. Okay. There's that is a picture of it at night, which there we go, which is pretty cool. But yeah, it depends on the angle that you're looking at it from, honestly. Yeah. Hmm. Flamengo Park is the location of the Rio de Janeiro Museum of Modern Art, the Carmen Miranda Museum, and the Monument to the Dead of World War II with modernist memorial sculptures. Okay. Interesting. Anyway, yeah. So let's go back here. Uh, so, uh, oh yeah, and Lota was trying to get um pick up soccer games and thank you, honeycomb. Oh jeez. Okay. That was a shoulder pop. Okay, one sec. I'm good. I can't read chat right now. One second. Alright. Yeah. There we go. Yeah, it was a good pop. Also, remember water, friends. Water is good. Yeah. So, Lotto was trying to essentially get anyone and everyone involved to drum up support and interest in the project because she was constantly fighting with people about whether or not the foundation was valid and everything else. So, she's trying to pick up soccer games together and was trying to get like a sailing center together. And as each thing happened, there were issues and stuff. So she got, what was it? Um, like she was trying to get the admiral to get behind the gardens by installing like a sailing school or something, right? sailing school? Yeah, sailing school. And to support her trying to kick out the homeless population because they were people were bathing in the fountains that were used by people to sail toy boats, and you can't have that if it's supposed to be the front for Brazilian sailing, because any kind of public support situation is less important than being able to sail a boat in a fountain. Of course it is. Especially when a good chunk of the population is impoverished. Yeah. Great job there. And yeah. She was all bent out of shape on that one. And just not only was it again, is that twirling gonna stretch your pop socket? Probably. Okay, one sec. I would I would bust out the yarn and make another carrot, because I've got the green bits already. I rediscovered some of my other yarn that's blue green, so this one's gonna have some blue in it. But I figure this is probably better right now, so when you hear clicking and stuff, for anyone watching the playback, it's my trusty little being a jerk to the homeless population. And granted, I don't know how the police force operates in Brazil, because there are military police and there are non-military police in the US, but at least at the time, because I know Brazil has gone through a few regime changes over the years, but at the time it was kind of a dictatorship. And what was it? Yeah. Lota asked the admiral to put in a word, do something, what have you, about there being homeless people on the premises. You got 200, you have almost 300 acres. People don't seem to be using much of it, and you're gonna kick off 50 random people who are just kind of trying to do the thing. Whatever. But oh, okay. One sec. I forgot that you can adjust the size of the font, and now it's messed up a little bit. Okay, there we go. We're back. just the idea of like 80 Brazilian Air Force police, like, with dogs, descending on an encampment to remove a bunch of people who are just kind of trying to do their thing when there's limited funds and resources available. Especially when they're trying to put on all these projects and stuff, like, you know, in support of X, Y, and Z cause, and funding for whatever, funding for the arts and stuff, but the community itself is detrimentally impacted, you know? Okay, I'm gonna mute the mic for a second, I gotta blow my nose. Be right back. Okay, and we're back. So a piece with how the people in the favelas were treated as portrayed in Bishop's poem. Yeah. 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 Like, you know, yeah. And on top of everything else, right? Lota has this thing where she pushes and pushes and pushes if something is going her way, or complains about it if it's not. And she's pushing on that particular thing, right? And the only thing that the admiral cared about was the ship, or the sailing school, and the ships and the fountain thing. And she's pushing to She's pushing to have him support the foundation as a thing, and is surprised when he pulls out support. Like, if the dude was that gung-ho about, like, one tiny thing, you might be able to figure out that the interest in your project is rather one-dimensional. I don't know. Just an observation there. Meanwhile, we've got Bishop in Washington who's continuing to hang out with Adrian, who's being freaking creepy as hell. And like, what did I? There we go. Like, I'm trying to remember what the notes are, and at least in this round of Kindle exploration, it's opening the notes. So yeah. And in some of the quarters, she faces opposition and also faces men claiming the park was their idea. Seriously, like, in equal measures, people are saying that her ideas are stupid and that they came up with them because they're good ideas. Sometimes for the same idea, like 3 days apart, and like, what? What are you doing? Bishop, oh, you're pregnant. Great cover story. Seriously. Ugh. Why? And like, okay. What was it? There's a point in there where like they're hanging out, drinking wine, and Adrian's like, I'm in love. And like the only thing I could figure at that point was like, this this seems like some high key emotional manipulation, but alright. Ah, seriously. Especially when like Bishop's trying to like, oh yeah, okay. No, but like there's you know, other circumstances and stuff. Like, I don't care. Like, I want you, so we're doing things. Adrian? Uh, sit down and put that away, okay? Ah! And I know it was addressed in, like, probably the next chapter. But the idea that Lota had a fit that they wanted to install some, like, basic playground equipment, and then let whoever it was install, like, a real janky, like, amusement park setup that was like half rusted and sounds like it should have been condemned without like checking it for validity or like structural integrity and all. Huh. Adrian did not listen to know at all. Exactly. Like, there. Like, okay, what was it? Adrian didn't pay attention to butts. She got up and came close. Bishop knew what would follow. She let it. Like, it sounds like just in that phrase, right? She knew what would happen. She let it. It sounds like someone rationalizing something that happened to her as like, oh no, like I knew what was gonna happen. It's fine. Versus like something that a person was actively wanting to happen or was an active participant in. You know? No. Get the equipment was installed in a very dangerous place, though. That was bad. Yeah, no, totally. Thank you for the subscription, little Bonkai. Appreciate it. Welcome to the subscriber things. Yeah. I appreciate the subscription muchly. Oh no. Yeah. Yeah, the equipment was installed in a really dangerous spot, so like yeah, totally. Um but to have the same restriction regardless of what was there would have made more sense. Of like not putting equipment that would draw kids across the road and possibly get hit by a car, you know. Also, if it's a coastal area like that, and I know rain gets real heavy in Brazil sometimes. There's underground or like underpass, I guess, subway, uh, crossings mentioned to like at I don't know 4 different points to get into the park if you're across the street. And I don't know what kind of drainage they had going in those, but I've used the subway systems in London and like Dover, and because it has to be open to the street level, it's very easy to flood. If man, my nose is itchy. Ah, it's very easy to flood if drainage isn't installed properly. And being that the entire rest of this endeavor seems to be, how do you say, kind of a bit shit. I would not be surprised if that was a thing that there we go. Okay, I'm just gonna put the phone down. Alright. I would not be surprised if that was a thing that might not have been thought through in the best of ways. Or to the extent that it maybe should have been, as a thing. Because also, that's the only instance of, like, subway systems being a route under a road that I really have experience with. But there tends to be homeless encampments in those too, because it is a covered space. And if they're checking people out of the park, or if there's people in the park and it's raining, that is a logical space that you would go to. But if it's raining, it floods. So, problems. On top of which, it's probably not the most easily accessible if there's only 4 of these to get into, again, an almost 300-acre park. Okay. Just because I need to check this out. How big is Central Park? 843 acres. So 1.3 miles. So a little bit over a third the size of Central Park is the Otero that we're dealing with here. Or Central Park, New York, for anyone not familiar. Okay, I realize I'm not all that up on New York geography, just because never been there, never really had a reason to study it directly. Central Park is the 5th largest park in the city. How How is over a mile of park space the 5th largest? Where are the rest? Because that's the big one. That's the one that everybody knows. I realize this is a tangent, and like, anybody watching the playback, welcome to Stream Shenanigans. But yeah, let's see. If it lets me. Ow, why is my nose always so itchy when I'm doing a stream? I'm just trying to figure out what the other ones are because I'm curious and it's not wanting to load. Apparently not. Okay. Anyway, what have you? Okay. Okay, so back to the book. We've got Lana going back and forth with press and essentially management. And there's a bunch of people claiming that she's become like a dictator for the Otero, which they're not wrong exactly, you know. She's dealing with people trying to take credit for what she's doing and simultaneously telling her what she's doing is a bad idea, but also wanting to take credit for it anyway. So, like, jerk moves all around. But she is kind of going off the rails. And meanwhile, perhaps some of the funds used for the extravagant events, like the Santa helicopter, could have been, I don't know, used to actually finish the park. Right? Right? Like, we will drum up interest for the project by getting all of these new and fascinating things in, you know, instead of actually finishing the thing that we've been working on for the last, at this point, 6 years or something. So that you can, you could just be done with it and not have to worry about it anymore. Because it's taking up literally all of your life? No? You don't want to do that? No, of course not. Why would you want to make your life easier? Of course not. No. Perish the thought. Truly. Oh, man. Honestly. And in and amongst all of this, she's trying to get, like, a giant soccer tournament organized. So, like, to distract from all of that, what was it? What was it? There were bound to be many more complaints about the lack of seats on the swings, the filth of Toy City, the generally bad conditions of the whole park. She took the opportunity to reveal that 617 clubs totaling approximately 9,000 players had entered the pickup soccer tournament. Like, don't be mad that this is a thing, because we have soccer. Like, two things can be true at the same time. You can have a badly run thing and also trying to host a soccer match. Ah! Ah. And the whole, seriously, like, I appreciate that Lota and Bishop have been in a relationship for, 15 years? But, like, when it's so freaking toxic, sometimes you just gotta let it go. You know? Like, they're not even in the same country, and Lana is making Bishop not feel good. Like, really? What's the line? Lana thought the Bishop was playing at teaching. She didn't have the patience to hear long-distance accounts of Bishop's tiny victories over her insecurities. Like, really? Really? Lana? Sweetie, you need therapy. Come on. The both of them. Oh my god. So many issues. No, the truth. The only truth is Lana's truth, right? Ah, no. Come on. You have issues? You need to work them out separately. But you won't. Of course not. Oh my god. Oh. And the idea of your partner just inherently thinking that nothing that you're saying about, like, the victories that you've had over um your perceived shortcomings are valid. So obviously you're just, like, not going to the classes that you teach and are constantly drunk, and any stories that you tell about having to deal with annoying students and haikus all the time is obviously fabricated. What? Really? Really? Come on. I will say, like, there are some elements in here where it's like, yeah. Well, you're self-aware in the sentence. 'Cause there's like, there's a description of Adrian, um, spending time with Bishop, and what was it? Bishop admitted that she needed this reaffirmation of her capacity to interest another person. Which, okay, yeah, it makes sense. The relationship with Adrian is seriously screwed up, but yeah. Because Bishop couldn't possibly function without Lotta, or with her, really. Right? Like, there's certain times when it's just time to call it a. I'm checking this all over. There's times that it's time to call it a day on whatever relationship that you have going. This would be one of those times. And just go do your thing, you know? Not with Adrienne, though, because A, she's freaking married. She's already in a relationship. And that's screwed up. And B, she's creepy as hell. And C, there's no boundaries, you know? Does not comprehend what no means. Giant red flags there, waving all over the place, but alright. Punch! Welcome in, Raiders. Welcome to the book club shenanigans. Welcome. For anyone new here, my name's Ren, and being that I am an ethnobotanist, on Mondays, I get to read you. Yay! Yes, you do. Usually on Mondays, there were some technical and technical issues yesterday, so we're doing book club today. But we, my nose is itchy, 1 second. We do a discussion on books with botanical themes and what's its every week. Generally Mondays at 4 PST, and Thursdays it's like craft streams and whatnot. Speaking of, the latest couple of things that I've been working on are a rainbow snake friend, because pride, and a fabulous carrot friend with some cool hair. So yeah, there's that. How was your stream, guys? What were you doing? I'm imagining art things, but you know. Anything you want to share with the class, or not? Fun times were had. Currently we're working on the latter part of wearing Commonplace Flowers. I randomly drew the word Nike. Awesome. Because why not? Exactly. Sometimes you just gotta do a why not. Anything you want to share? If you want to pop links or whatnot in the chat, go for it. That is fine. Or arts, or what have you. All good. But yeah, we are currently talking about wearing Commonplace Flowers. That's kind of It's a dual biography of Elizabeth Bishop, who was an American poet, and I've gotten so used to just calling her Lota that I can't remember the rest of her name. One second. I can't remember. Come on. Donna Lota de Macedo Soares? Yeah, that's what it is. Who was in charge of the Flamengo Atero project in Brazil in like the mid 60s, and their admittedly pretty toxic relationship and the political machinations and shenanigans involved with trying to get the gardens functional and usable and things. But, like, it's not written like any biography I've read before. It's written very lyrical, like I usually see with, like, fiction. So it's kind of hard to keep it straight that, like, they're not just characters, they're actual people with, like, events being narrated. And I can't quite tell if it's just how the author writes, or because it's translated from Portuguese, and Portuguese tends to be a pretty lyrical language. So, in order to keep the same, like, feel and cadence, that's how the transliteration ended up. Because from, like, the translator's note, that's kind of where I'm thinking. But, yeah. It's an interesting one. I'll say that. It's one of those books that you keep wanting to yell at the people involved because they're being idiots in various capacities. But it's also fascinating. So, there we go. But yes. Victory. Very good. Alright. But yeah, Pudge, if you want to share anything, go for it. Also, yeah, the link that just popped up in chat is the blog. Everything's linked through there. Also, there's link for the Discord where there's updates and stuff, and we've got like polls going for future book club books and things like that. And thank you for doing a shout out for Podge. He's a pretty cool dude. Pretty cool indeed. Usually has some pretty chill streams too. With fabulous art. Yes, water time. There it is. Yes, I was sitting on the water bottle. I don't know. But yeah. All kinds of fun. Yeah. So, while we're there, we into this thing. Like, seriously, on the one hand, like, I'm glad that Bishop had someone who was, like, validating, like, the need to, or I guess acknowledging, I suppose, her need for validation, but like also being that it was Adrian and she's creepy as hell. Not the best, exactly, Star! Hi! I'm here with Pachi. How are you? I am doing alright. How are you doing? I know you were, traveling back home last week. Hoping that that went good. Yeah, I'm doing alright. Just getting through the shenanigans happening. I was out doing some errands and stuff earlier today and have been clearing up the space so that it's less funky around these parts. Yeah. Yeah. Good times. Good times indeed. But yeah. I don't know. It's like, ow. There we go. It's one of those times that it feels like there's a burp just like right there, but it doesn't want to do anything. So now it's just feeling really uncomfy. So apologies in advance if that just like randomly comes out in a couple minutes, but like right now it just feels like I got punched in the chest, which is fun. Yeah. Anyway, moving on. Uh, and again, like, just the idea. What was it? After a short interlude of, like, not being happy, Bishop's only real response to Adrian, who was already being real. No. Declaring that she was pregnant was like, yes, this is fine. That'll throw people off the trail. Bishop, no, come on. Thank you for the hugs. They're appreciated. Ah. There we go. Ah, yes. Like, sometimes the computer won't let me actually use the typing. But yes. Thank you for the raid, Pudge. You get hugs. And Star too, because, y'all are cool. There you go. And mothering her, or getting on her case because she can't. What? Okay, 1 second. Nope, that's not what I want to do. Refresh, maybe? Is it gonna live if I refresh it? Maybe. Possibly. Is it live? Resurrection! Okay, yes. Fabulous. Okay. What was the last thing y'all heard? Because being the lag is a thing. How far back do I need to, retrace? Basically, Bishop is a poet who has a real hard time actually writing anything. And when she writes about Brazil, hugs for cool people? Exactly. Like, when she writes about Brazil, Brazil is mad about it because she's like an outsider and either doesn't understand the culture properly, or when she submits poems or articles or whatever to American publications, they insist on rewriting it, so it comes out pretty bad. Or, like, retitle things so it doesn't have quite the same vibe that it, initially did, which is fun. Because editors and things with final say of how stuff ends up, great times. Which I realize is definitely a thing that happens. Or like she tried to publish a few things like in Portuguese and was doing a few translations from Portuguese to English, but then refused to speak Portuguese with Lota and her friends, which was a whole weird arc just in and of itself, honestly. And then complained that the friends didn't like her. Whatever. And Lota keeps getting sidetracked and whatever with other projects, and they're just yelling at each other constantly. And at the point that we're at now, for the last like 5-6 years, Lota has been like neck deep in trying to organize, orchestrate, manage the Tarot Garden project that's essentially converting, if I'm remembering it correctly, it was an old strip mine into workable garden space where like 90% of it is open grassed fields, and there's like 47-meter light fixtures just chilling in the middle of the park, that end up only providing like vague moonlight type lighting, which is fun. And because Lota was so involved with that, and Bishop was feeling stifled and ignored and everything else, she took a post at the University of Washington to teach poetry. Now, they had been trying to call each other back and forth, but it's a real bad connection, and it can only be a certain length of time because international calls are really expensive. So, like, letters are a better option, right? And we've got Lota writing to Bishop, and what was it? Bishop, I forget Dr. Bowman's relationship to the two of them, but essentially, like, from what I'm remembering, essentially like a therapy appointment. And what was it? She wanted to schedule an appointment in New York, but in the letter she explained that Bishop, had lived 5 years in hell, that it was more and more difficult to live with Lota, that she had let Lota order her around for years and suddenly couldn't stand it any longer. That because she didn't know how to protest, she kept swallowing and accumulating resentments. She was deteriorating by day by day. She thought she needed to distance herself a bit, and really it had been a good idea. Nobody in Seattle could compare with Lota, but they treated her much better. She hadn't known such tenderness in a long time. So you've got the attachment to the toxic relationship and the partner in said toxic relationship. The acknowledgement that it's not a good dynamic, but wanting to go back to it. But also that she's being treated better now, even though Adrian is, again, real creepy. So, yeah. And, and now we get to the chapter entitled No Time for Logic, which fits as a chapter title, especially after the last one, just as a thing, right? Also for new folks coming in, I have to fidget with stuff all the time in order to focus. So we've got the resident fidget cube over here. That's the clicky noises. If you didn't pick up on that, it's either that or unintentionally end up unplugging the mic because I end up fiddling with the cord, or like spin the pop socket to bits. I think it's not so much wanting to go back to the current Lota as wanting to go back to their initial happiness. Yeah, no, that's true. That's definitely true. Like, kind of pining for what was, but acknowledging that what is isn't good. Sort of. But also, the current situation has been as it is for a long period, so how do you get back to how it was? Good point. Alright. So, yeah. We've got a new chapter, and Shell, like gas company Shell, being a massive jerk. Not surprised, really. Just because, like, A, it's, big company, and B, it's Shell. And C, oil gas companies tend to be pretty shady, regardless of origin or use or anything. Alright, thank you for the stretch. Alright. Remember to stretch, everybody. Oh, jeez. Okay. Every once in a while, you gotta just, like, elongate your back and widen your shoulders a bit. Yep, that's a little better. Thank you so much. Especially if you have, like, a lot of shoulder issues and stuff, or, like, tightness back here. It seems to help quite a lot for me. So, yeah. Positives. Don't know what that was, but it's fine. Anyway. But yeah, like, in and amongst everything else that they had going in the Atero, apparently there was a traffic school thing in conjunction with Shell, and the foundation was supposed to get a percentage of it, I guess, but because the foundation was being contested, they couldn't share any. Well, what was the thing? They couldn't pass on the money to a foundation that was being contested. There we go. Are there any petrochemical companies you have positive feelings about? I'm guessing no. I am drawing a blank on that one. So, let me know. I only use mobile simply because I have a mobile card. That's the only gas card I have. otherwise no brand loyalty there. I just know that Shell, like, they're all pretty shady. But Shell in particular has been connected to some pretty bad stuff over the years. So, but between, like, mining and, perhaps unsafe conditions and everything else. But yeah. There we go. Which, being that it's a potential environmental impact thing, if you'd want an investigate on something like that, let me know, and I'll see what I can swing. But yeah. We shall see. I've got a number of things in the works on that, so could be added to the list if it's of interest. One second. Case in point with the ow. Okay. I moved and my neck just decided that it wanted to go die. Okay. Ow. Alright. So, short intermission of discussion times. Because I can't quite concentrate for the moment. Okay, here we go. Actually, this has corners, right? Yeah, let's see if this. Ooh, okay. Well, there's a hack. If you're having a muscle spasm sort of situation, but you have a fidget cube, the corners make real nice little acupressure thingies. Not to like push real hard, but like just like a nice little massage thing. Okay. Could be an interesting angle looking for positives where you expect to find none. Yeah. Okay. There we go. Yeah. Possibly. Come on. Like option. Alright. Alright. So we've got like also Lota seems to essentially be attacking all members of her family that are still alive and involved in politics at all. Because there's like, what, 2, 3 of them at this point? That she's going up against. And where is it? Oh. the urban cleaning department keeps dumping debris in the park, and Lana keeps trying to get the city to clean the park, but being that the park is supposedly governed by a foundation, the city is saying that the foundation should clean the park, but it's a public space, but it's kind of not, but it is, but ad nauseum. Meanwhile, Bishop almost has a breakdown in April, which is fun times. What was it? Oh, yeah. Found this a bit interesting, right? So, Bishop is a university professor at this point, yeah? She's teaching young people how to be poets with the rhyming schemes and everything else and different forms of at least traditional styles of poetry. With the exception of one or two students, the young poets thought her a bit too eccentric in asking them to versify on the prosaic things she took out of a supermarket bag: a fork, a pack of seeds, an egg beater, which, as an exercise, that could be a really valuable thing, as an exercise, as a writing exercise to get the creative inspo flowing, right? You just, or it's the same kind of principle as story dice, where you have the dice, you have no idea what you want to write or where a plot line would go. So you've got the story dice, you throw them, and then make up a scene, make up a story, make up something that's got a tent, a moose, and some random person figure or something. Because in the process of writing, you end up working out things and you can get through a block. But just, I get where the students were coming from with being annoyed that that's all they were being allowed to write about. Especially that, what was it? They wanted to write poetry about something big, pain, madness. Yeah, okay, I get it. Oh, so that's the point of spreading the trash, pressuring the foundation to give it back to the government's purview. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. They were already trying to get the foundation authorization, I guess, revoked. And they kind of did by the end of it, honestly. But in applying pressure, they were trying to force the issue instead of just kind of let it happen as it would. Yeah. Also, just as a complete aside, as someone who has decently bad asthma sometimes, it's there, but it's not debilitating most of the time. It's good, it's good to know that the Seattle climate might not be the best for those, like, situations, with, like, the rain and humidity making asthma attacks a constant thing. Yeah, I can see why Bishop would be having some issues with the ecosystem that she was in. As I'm just checking this thing everywhere. And then we've got Adrian once again being presented as a balm to the isolation that Bishop was feeling. And Bishop's all angry that Lota left her so vulnerable to this new attachment. Like, I know there's a lot of extenuating circumstances here, but like... Okay, 1 second. And we're back. Okay. A call making sure that people voted in the primaries. Which I did. So, that's all that was. As I'm like running into the mic cord. There we go. Anyway, moving on. Oh yeah, and then of course we've got Lota again not taking accountability for her own mistakes and things, and trying to blame it on literally everyone else. And what was it? What was the... Yeah, there's mention of another article that Burl Marx wrote about her regarding the Otero and everything, entitling her the Joan of Arc of the Otero, or that she was trying to style herself as the Joan of Arc of the Otero rather, i.e. with, like, as a martyr for the thing. And on top of everything else, right? Like, back at, I know I'm not pronouncing this right. I've never pronounced this right. But at Samvaya, I think it was Monica had a kid, like their friend Monica had a kid. No, Mary. There we go. Wow. The words moving around there. Mary had a kid when they'd been together, like, what, a year maybe? Like 4 years? Something like that. So, Monica, who's Mary's kid, is still pretty young, and, like, from the sounds of it, this whole exchange isn't an infrequent thing where Lota wants to go for a drive because she's stressed in the city, so goes back up to the goes back up to Samvaya, and just apropos of nothing, like, I know it's in the middle of the night, but, like, let's go stalk owls, kid. You wanna come stalk the owls with me? Like, it's literally in the middle of the night. What are you doing? Background, some vias where Bishop and Lota initially built a house and moved in together. Yes, okay. Yes. Thank you for adding that. The initial staging of the relationship. And while all of this is happening, we've got Lana trying to convince everyone in the new government structure, because, like, it was under someone else's governance. It was under Lacerda's governance. He was voted out, and then it's under someone new who doesn't like her and what she's trying to do. So she's trying to interact with the new people the same way that she did with the old people, even though, like, the old cabinet and everything was essentially more or less her friends, and she could kind of get away with a lot more. So essentially she was expecting to have a discussion and just like, oh, okay, yeah, that's fine. We'll do that, yeah. And instead, that's essentially what she heard, but it was, what was the phrasing? What Lana had interpreted as acquiescence turned out to be nothing more than a conveniently gradual roasting, in which she and Neotero were gradually torn apart in the papers with a whole lot of puns. Whole lot of puns. Also, just, okay, as a thing, right? Okay. She's organizing this massive match between, like, I want to say, like, over 600 teams, okay? Like, 9,000 people. And then gets bent out of shape because people were damaging the grass by bouncing balls on it while waiting on the field and parking their cars in the gardens, and the locals were annoyed that there was noise all the time, to the point that she just had the, like, the staff turn off the lights at 11 to call an absolute finish to the games because they were being annoying. You have exercise fields in the space. That's the point of the exercise fields. You specifically organized a multi-thousand person competition to take place on the exercise fields in your garden park thing to drum up support for said garden park thing. And yet you're mad because people are kicking a ball and bouncing the ball as they wait to go on in your garden park thing. Why? Why? What note did I put on this thing? It's like, yo, what did you think would happen, honestly? Ugh. Honestly. Um, oh, yeah. And by this point, um, it's the end of term. Bishop's going back to Brazil and is trying to figure out what to do after that. How dare you play with soccer balls at a soccer tournament I organized, right? It's like, did you think they would just stand around looking aesthetic? Like, what? Yeah, I can't, like... Yeah. you can't put a clear plastic couch cover on the grass to, keep it all nice and stuff and expect it to work. Like, that's not how it works. It's grass. It's gonna get busted up. That's the point of having an athletic field. So that you have it in a particular space and not, like, everywhere. You know? Just that's a thing. Ow. uh, alright. But yeah, so by this point, like, Bishop is still having a thing with Adrian. Adrian always knew about Lotta, and they're trying to figure out how and if to continue their shenanigans once Bishop returns to Brazil. And Bishop returns to Rio on July 4th. So, I've read partway into Third Right Park. So, either we can just put a pin in it there and leave, like, either the rest of it or, like, break it up in two for next time. Or I can go through what I've read so far and we can go from there. How do you want to do it? Let's stop there and finish for next time. Okay, that works. That works. Okay, so, for anyone who is interested in taking part in next week's Botany Book Club, there, there's quite a few pages. I don't rightly remember how many pages are in this, but we're on the last section for next week. So right now I'm on, it says 88% completed, so that, if that gives you an idea. And then we're gonna do something else after that. But regardless of if you have read the book or not, if you want to hang out for a bit of a discuss, that would be cool. And would be welcome. Want to see what vaguely botany related book we're reading next and join the discuss? Check out the Discord. Exactly. Thank you for doing the mod things, Honeycomb. You're fabulous. And much appreciated. Muchly appreciated indeed. There you go. And if I can get it to work, we might do like movie nights or something too. So, it's not a thing as yet, but it's possible. Perhaps. So, yeah. We shall see. Yeah. So, that is. So there's one more week of rare and commonplace flowers. What do we think? What do we think so far? It's like there's a lot of drama, like a lot of drama, and like I do like the writing style though. It's cool. It's definitely different flavor than I'm used to, which I appreciate. Yeah. Oh. Interesting. And like most of the like historical sort of things that I read tend to be like I don't know medieval or Regency or what have you, depending on the culture involved. But it's interesting seeing something from Brazil because I think this is the first thing that I've read that's written, well, originally written in Portuguese, but written um, and published in Brazil initially. It's certainly been an interesting read, right? It has. It really has. Alright. So, with that, any final thoughts or anything? Because admittedly, as much as I love hanging out with everybody, I am kind of fading a bit. And my stomach has decided that food is a thing of interest. So there's that. But yeah. So that being said, yes. Does anyone have suggestions for a raid? So I'm doing a scroll through people. And if it's glitching right now, it's because I accidentally clicked something and it's trying to load. Yeah. I don't know. But yeah. Do we want to do art or science or gaming? I don't know what they're working on right now, but Rhino Lion's on. Ew, pottery. Yeah. So we've got some pottery, we've got some Minecraft, there's a whole host of things happening. Any votes? Anyone care? Where would you like to go? Yeah. Just for the YouTubes and whatnot. As a sign off. Thank you very much for hanging out and being awesome and participating in the chat. It was a great discussion. I very much look forward to next week where we finish the book. Have a fabulous rest of your day, evening, nighttime, whatever it is for you. I will see you all later. Have a good one, everybody. And now back to Switch. Alright. So yeah. For anyone not familiar, I still have a massive backlog to post. But I'm working on it. Part of it is a lot of times the editing software freezes or crashes, and then my brain won't concentrate on it in order to get back to it, and then it doesn't happen. So I am intentionally making myself sit down and edit stuff, so things should actually be out. Alright. Do we want to do pottery, otters, or bunnies? I'm good with all of the above, honestly. Because, you know. Where are the otters, anyway? The bun buns. Where'd the bun buns go? There's the bun buns. Asking the tough questions. I know, right? Like, yeah. Water time! Yeah. We've got some chill pottery vibes, or some chill critters. It's a toss-up, I realize. But, you know. Tough questions indeed. Let's try something new. Pottery it is. Okay. I'm gonna mute the mic while I unplug it and switch over to the headphones. So, just be aware of that for a second.
a second. Okay, that's off. That's off. Okay, so it is just my voice. Alright, good to know. And we're back. Yeah. Audio a little bit more than usual, but apparently that's just how it is with this whole mic situation. Anyway, once again, thank you very much for hanging out and being awesome and participating in the utter shenanigans that is all stream descends into. Once again, Thursdays, also about are more shenanigans. Sometimes we do yarn things, sometimes we do art things. The computer being itself don't usually do, there we go, digital art or gaming, but those are definitely things that happen occasionally. But yeah, thank you for being awesome. If you want to grab one of the raid messages, that would be fab. And we'll go visit Rhino Lion, who is working on some cups, I believe. Yeah. Seems like a pretty chill person. Hugs for everybody. And another last minute shout out to Podge. Thank you for the raid once again. I hope y'all have a fabulous rest of your day. I will see you later.
moonshine right now, and then I'll be moving on to small cups. Little cups. I like little cups. Little cups. Yeah, everybody who came in adventuring. Claim some prize stones, and then use them on Rin by using the command praise and then targeting adventure. That will give them some points that go toward real stuff. Book club stream, nice. I'm doing well. I'm feeling good. It's a nice evening. Let's sit out here and get some projects done. We're starting off with some very relaxing trimming. It's been windy, so I've been thinking about wind chimes lately. Book club streaming. What is the book club reading? With some nice ribbons. How am I thinking to put together the chimes? It's a good question. I'm hoping to be able to put a little loop here that I can put a rope to. And then I was thinking of maybe having the part that hits it on the outside. I'm not sure. It's a lot of planning ahead. I have never made a wind chime for myself before. So we'll see. But maybe I should plan ahead and put an attachment point on the inside so that I can hang a clapper in there. Good night, Trick. It's nice to see you. Hope you're doing well. something. Inclusion. Got ripped out. There. I wonder what it was. Interesting. I've never heard of it. Rare and commonplace flowers. The inclusion tore out earlier. Makes sense. How much of I can actually remove before I've removed too much. Just hoping that my senses will let me know before I cross that line. Until individual stocks are ready to release from the plant, usually at least partially by segment, measurements, control the whole, ends the string. That's cool. They sound nice. The honeycomb system. Thank you for the follow. Welcome to the pride. For that. few chunks. Until besides just cutting through a wall. It'll get kind of soft, I think. So this one is just applying a little bit of pressure as it goes around. I'm feeling for a little bit of give in the clay. And that will be my gone too far moment.
Oh, right. As I'm just sitting here staring off into space. Because of course. Come on.